Hello. So we've learned how to create a target market. Let's go to our next step. Our next step is called positioning. Let me tell you a bit about it. It's positioning for marketing, which is a little bit different than some other positioning. But basically, if you remember when we talked about kind of marketing, we gave you a little overview of it, or I gave you an overview. Talked about the decisions you usually make are based on your target market is what your product will be, how you'll price it, where you will sell it or how you'll get it to the people, and how you will promote it. And those are the kind of the main things, so it has to be based on your target market. Well, as you're starting to develop your product strategy, and even maybe even more central to everything, you need to come up with something we call a positioning statement. And a positioning statement or positioning is something that helps your product, but it helps a lot of other things, as we'll show you. A positioning statement helps keep you focused. Now think about this, when we develop our product, usually we're trying to say, how can we make that target market super happy, meet their needs better than anybody? Well, our intuition would give us, might lead us astray. In fact, it usually leads us astray. Our intuition tells us, well, let's come up with something they want and something else they want. Let's come up with, if they don't want it for this reason, let's come up with another reason, and we say, yeah, you'll like it for this. For instance, if we're selling food, if you're an IBC company selling food, and your name's Super Salad, and there you are right there, you might say, we have the best taste. We're the best tasting thing there is, best taste. And we're the most convenient. And we're the fastest. Well, that's kind of convenient too. And then we have the best atmosphere. And we are the cheapest. We are the cheapest. You just say, if you don't like us for this reason, then you like us for this reason. If you don't like us for that reason, you like us for this reason, or that one, or that one. That's what intuition usually tells most people that I've worked with. And that usually leads us astray. And let me tell you why. Because the customer's intuition is a little bit different. Or just the way they act or the way they are. Customers typically do one of two things. Typically customers just aren't they're just kind of not paying attention. So they're just kind of, kind of clueless in some ways. No, clueless is a bad term. They're kind of more distracted or focused on something else. So I'm going to say distracted for our purposes because they are thinking about other things. And their whole life doesn't center around your little business. They have a lot of other things on their mind. They have a lot of marketing coming their way. They're just walking by. They don't even maybe see that it says Super Salad there and you have your cute little uniform on and you have your little things here. Or if you have your little lawn sign or your other advertisement or your video, they maybe don't even pay attention to it. Or they see it for a second. And when they see it, they're thinking about 12 other things. And if you're trying to be all these things, they might just say, I don't know what it's about. And it doesn't even get in their brain. It basically bounces off. Doesn't even get in. And so you've wasted all your marketing money because you didn't even get through to them. Or the other thing is if they're thinking a little bit better, they just think you're lying. They just think, God, you can't be all those things. You can't be the best atmosphere and the best taste and the fastest and the most convenient and the cheapest. Everybody says they're that. I don't believe you. I just don't believe you. And so once again, they just discount what you've done. We're wasting money. And so what we've got to do is change our intuition because we're thinking so much about this to do something a little wiser. We need to say, let's focus on one thing that we think we can do better than our competitors. Maybe what we'll do is we're going to be the fastest because of who our target is. We're going to choose to be the fastest. And that's going to be our primary focus. And you'll have a lot of people in your company say, yeah, but we're good taste. No, we're super convenient. We're right where they want it. And our atmosphere is awesome. We have this music playing, whatever. You'll have a lot of people who are advocates for other things. That's why we usually get this big list of stuff that doesn't even make it to our customers because our customers don't believe it or they're not paying attention, our potential customers. So we've got to focus on one thing. Now, do we throw the other things out? No, they're still important. You need to be adequate. You need to be adequate in the other things that matter to them. Some things you just can't even be very good. Some things you just have to throw out. Maybe you'll just say, we're going to do all these things, but we're not going to be convenient. Or we'll say, we'll do these things, and we just can't be the cheapest price. We'll be a fair price. In fact, you kind of want to do that. Marketers, if your greatest selling thing is you're cheap, that means that you're not a very good marketer. That means that you haven't met their needs very well, and so you just had to lower the price. Good marketers find out exactly what people want, so they're happy to pay a little bit more for it because you meet their needs better than anybody else. So don't use price as your main thing, usually. If you do, then you'll be more like Walmart, where there's not a lot of marketers there, there's a lot of supply chain people there, because they need to be efficient. They don't need to spend so much time on the other stuff. we want to meet their needs really, really well, tell them about it, and that's why we focus on one thing. So what does that lead us to? Well, it leads us to creating a position statement. So you need to create a positioning statement. I have a little template for you right here. The template that I would suggest you do, there's a bunch of templates, you can use different ones, but this is a good start. You might say for our target market, so you'd say for, and you'd list out some description of your target market, who have some problem, X problem, they have this problem, and you just state what the problem is you're trying to solve from our gift-giving experience we did earlier on. You need to think of the problem you're trying to solve, and then you say, our product is and you say how it's the solution to that problem. And you want to describe somewhere in these two things that provides, and you focus on the one characteristic. You know, we provide the fastest delivery of the food that you can get. You know, it's when you order it, it's ready instantaneously, whatever you choose, whatever your business is. And then you say, unlike competitors, and you might list some other competitors, the top competitors, and you could describe them as a category or describe maybe your top competitor. There's a few other things you can add, but I think this is a good start. If you do that, then you will find that you are very focused at being able to get their attention, so your marketing money will work for them. The product you make for them will help be pleasing to them, because you're going to have to be very disciplined and choose one, maybe two, but I like to say just one main characteristic you're going to be known for, adequate on others, and do all this. And if you do those things, then you'll be much more successful at doing this. The last thing I want to make sure that you did when you do this is you'll see that it's going to affect a lot of things. How you make your product will be changed. Even how you price it will be affected by what you decide to do here. If you're going to be the best taste, you can probably a little bit higher price. Okay? How you promote it, of course, that affects that. Where you sell it, that affects it, because if we're not the most convenient, maybe we don't have booths everywhere in the world. And the other thing, it affects all your marketing, but it affects anybody else who delivers your product, the people in operations, other people at the company who are working there. So the last thing you want to do is you need to make sure you communicate, and you may, and it may be very important to collaborate, because they may have say-sos in this too. So you might want to get some collaboration on what is the one characteristic or attribute we want to be known for. That is the discipline of positioning, especially for a company the size of an IBC company. Let's focus on one thing. Let's write out a statement. Let's make sure everybody knows about it. It's kind of the mission statement for our product. And when we do that, you'll make sure the energies you spend will all go the same direction at helping please these customers. And that's it for positioning. Talk to you later.